Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, Big Sexy in Glasses. How you doing today, Mr. Andy Molitor?
I'm betting. I forgot to bet some stuff, so I'm putting it in right now.
Anything fun? What'd you forget to bet? Is there something we're going to talk about?
Or yes, soccer. It's soccer day. Somebody in one of the chats just kind of posted like Monday morning. He's like, "Well, what do we do now?" Which is funny. Like, there's plenty to bet out, especially guys like us who delve into multiple sports all year round. But yeah, people who
it's probably nice. You get a little bit of a break.
Oh yeah, I mean it's funny. I do get a break, but the fact that conference tournaments are coming right up, and I spend a lot of time on that, and the amount of time you have to spend just digging into every little crevice for draft content, like that'll take up plenty of time. And obviously, golf is starting to hit its stride. Drew and I actually talked about it a little after the deep dive last night. We've done podcasts like this in the past, like what to do now, or basically one was like how not to lose all your football money in the next few months. If you did good, here's how not to fuck it up. I think we're gonna phrase it a little differently. We might do something surrounding that next week where we give some people some jump starts into other sports if that's something they're interested in. But we can give you a jump start into what we're betting today because we have multiple bets on all kinds of sports. I'm working up a golf article for today. The Genesis. Is it just Dubai, or the ladies are only in one spot this week, correct?
Ladies are only in one spot. Yeah, I love your evergreen content. You guys do that in the off season. You had a couple. I think you had a couple off seasons where maybe it was a little more formal, but you guys always do great stuff with that. So make sure you check out the deep dives. I'm curious to see what you guys jump into. Are you going to have like a bunch of guests? Are you going to like run through the ringer all your buddies again?
We kind of went over that too, and we have there's some guests that we haven't had that we want to talk to, just like random sports too. There's a lot of good sports. I mean, there's so much you can learn about UFC and NASCAR and golf and tennis. And I know I'm probably missing a few. Like, I mean, we did a League of Legends podcast one time. That was wild. I haven't played League of Legends for a while after that until I started getting yelled at by people in the on the server because I was bad. like they made me do something. They made me take a position on the battlefield that I wasn't comfortable with, and I was horrible at it. And I'm like Joe Dirt with the oil. Like, hell, it's my first day. I'll pay for this. I don't know what I'm doing. And yeah. So my League of Legends career is probably over. But yeah, during the pandemic, which feels like it was yesterday, like the height of it, that first summer where there was no sports, I was balls deep into UFC. So I think definitely some UFC content.
Let's see. People got into NASCAR, again, table tennis. It's all out there.
Snooker, if you're darts, there's a ton if you want to get into it. But yeah, we'll stick to the normal stuff this week. We'll probably have some fun guests on here too. I'm cooking up some stuff so we can talk about some sports, get some picks out for you, and some sports we don't normally touch on with some fun guests here on Brown Bag 2. But let's fire away with the picks in the NBA from Alex Christenson right now.
Maybe more singular as opposed to plural, but 7 games tonight. Sixers, Celtics should be a lot of fun. The Sixers still without James Harden, but the Celtics playing very well. It's always a fun matchup. I was kind of making a joke in the DMs. I might place a small bet on the Celtics to win and Joel Embiid to go over all his numbers. He generally just destroys this team, but I wonder if overall the Celtics have, the overall talent and kind of health to get through that and win the game. But that'll be fun. Heat Mavericks, I think, will be a little bit underrated if everybody's healthy for the Heat. The Heat might be an interesting look, maybe an under there. Timberwolves Hornets is one of the highest totals of the year at 244. It's kind of hung right around that number. It might actually have been bet up a touch. Pacers Bucks should be fun. Grizzlies Pelicans, Clippers Suns, but just one game that I like, the only one of the 7 that I haven't mentioned, the Cleveland Cavaliers visit producer Dan's Atlanta Hawks. I like the Cavaliers here. I'm sure Dan will like this bet as well. He's generally anti betting on the Hawks. But just a nice spot for Cleveland, who continues to kind of pick apart teams. Atlanta without John Collins is a much different unit. They really kind of need him on the floor, and I think especially tonight facing Jared Allen, facing Evan Mobley, going to be really tough. Should be a good matchup again with Trae Young. They like to run a lot of high pick and rolls, try to attack some of those big men. But Mobley's comfortable out there. Jared Allen's comfortable out there, and they also won't mind guarding Capella. Just a really bad spot here for the Hawks. I like the Cavaliers. Was able to get minus 110 on the money line. If you want to play -1, minus 110, the Hawks are actually taking a little bit of money here. So I wonder if maybe there is somebody that's going to be back in for Atlanta. Again, Cleveland's injury report looked pretty clear. Garland should be in as well as the big guys. And that's all I'm really worried about. So go ahead right now. It looks like you can actually Cleveland +1, minus 110, but just take the money line or something like that. Again, minus 120 on the money line or better looks good, and the numbers get better for you. So let's grab the Cavs tonight.
I'm bowdy. Just one for you, just 3 for me. Only sides today. I took it a little easy. I'm trying to do something with the models, and I had a bit of a. I pulled up an old model, Alex, that was built in like Excel, Google Sheets, what have you. And I just started throwing names in there to see what kind of numbers it would spit out. And a lot of it is based off VLOOKUP. If anyone, F's with Excel a lot, you know how that works.
Oh, I love
And it
a
was
VLOOKUP.
VLOOKUP into a bunch of stats that were scraped from some scripts. And basically, if a team were the worst team in something, it would throw all kinds of errors because there's more teams this year. So all my VLOOKUPs were looking through it was like, rows 3 through whatever.
They didn't go far
through,
enough.
yeah, it didn't go far enough. So like the bottom 2 teams were, and so everything was just hashtag NAs, and I had to go back and reconfigure a lot of stuff. It was a big pain in the butt. I don't think I actually came up with anything useful, but I did clean up some spreadsheets. I really need to put more stuff and figure out how to use R to my advantage a lot better. But yeah, St. Thomas kept messing it up. It is something that you need to do every year. Is the NCAA is going to add and subtract teams, move some teams around in different conferences. That is the bane of my existence at the beginning of the year. But 3 sides, like I said tonight, 2 of them long-time mainstays of Division I college basketball in the MAC. A couple, all 3 are road underdogs. This is what I'm betting for the most part. Pretty much my entire Saturday was like 13 road underdogs. This is something I really will dig into. Kent State, Toledo's a lot better. Toledo's a great team, one of the best teams in the MAC. Probably the best team in the MAC. Yeah, they are. I'm going to call it best team in the MAC, but I trust Kent State's defense here to keep this close. Basically, 100% predicated on Kent State's defense. The offense is ho-hum. They don't shoot the 3 that well, but I think they can keep this to a low-scoring game. If they can keep Toledo to like 70 points, they're staying within this number. The Huskies of Northern Illinois, one of the worst teams in the Mid-American Conference. But honestly, I don't rate Ball State all that well either. So Ball State's a middling team. They have some trouble on defense. It is actually one of the worser defenses in the conference. So just looking for this is just an ugly underdog. They either keep this close or lose by 20. So I'm gonna index match in my life. Thanks, Rick Daddy. I know I got
is overrated.
I gotta clean up something about that. Well, it's a sheet that I didn't think I'd ever use. He threw me off kilter there. Either way, Northern Illinois, it's a real stinky underdog. This is more of a, I don't think Ball State should ever be favored by this much in a conference play. So it is home for Ball State, but Ball State doesn't have very many wins in conference. They only have 1 in about the last month and a half, and that was over Western Michigan, who is truly horrific. Western Michigan probably worse than even the Chippewas this year. And then this one will be late. The last one is 10 p.m. Eastern time because it is my favorite conference, the Mountain West. The Mountain West, of course, home to some really good teams like Wyoming, Boise State. Colorado State's one of my favorites. I bet on them the last bet right before the Super Bowl. San Diego State is probably 4th or 5th, maybe even 6th fiddle for me. And I do like them. I think they're a good team, but I really don't think this number should be 5. I have this closer like 2.5, 3. And it's it is, Utah State, maybe one of the most balanced teams in the conference. Like Wyoming is the most balanced team. They have the best offense. They have it's a top half defense. Their defense could play better at times. Boise State maybe up there as well, but and actually Colorado State is my pick to click if you want to do balanced teams. But Utah State has a good enough offense, a good enough defense to hang with anybody, even these top dogs. And Boise's not one I've loved. I think I have probably bet against them a few times. Or excuse me, San Diego State. I'm not betting against Boise State tonight. Every team in this conference is something state, it seems like, and it really does throw me for a loop. So San Diego State, best defense in the conference, bottom 3 offense. So I don't like to take these in a low scoring game. I think this total's probably around 125-ish, if I had to guess. So I don't like a really shitty offense to cover a number like this that could probably be a close game like they all are. Hopefully we don't get overtime again. That seems to be a real heavy trend for me lately. So 3 dogs. I'm still looking at totals. I might add something later. I'll get these up all on BetSperts right now.
I can dig it. I like it. A little underdog action. And I like underdogs, but let's. Sorry, Dan got me a little confused there. It's just looking at different things in the background. But I mean, speaking of underdogs, Andy, you know what I like? But you know where I like to bet underdogs?
On the tennis courts.
Down
on the tennis courts.
You guys can see how much we play in these segues. But we're down in Dubai again. A handful of tennis going right now. Katerina Siniakova up a break here, but down a set. Disappointed in myself. Usually I bet her over 2.5 sets. I kind of stepped away from that today. I thought Muguruza might be able to get through her here in 2, but we'll see. I mean, maybe Muguruza can come back. She had a tiebreaker to win there in the first. But couple matches here. I just want to double check, make sure. Yes, none of these are today. These will all be at various times, very early Eastern tomorrow morning. Again, play I think starts right around 2-3 o'clock Eastern. Actually, no, I'm sorry, closer to 4 a.m. Eastern time, start time for these. Again, we don't know what the order of play is, but 2 underdogs, one an outright that we already have, and one just a play. Jill Teichmann, really fantastic on these courts. I think something about kind of the quicker hard courts for her made the quarterfinals here, being some really impressive players. Had to come through qualifying, struggled a little bit with injuries last year and lost some ranking points there, but really nice spot for her. Plus 160 against Alina Svitolina, aka Alina Monfils. Svitolina having a decent year, but just doesn't quite look like herself. This looks like a pretty even match to me. I mean, I'd have Svitolina maybe a short favorite, but not close to what we're seeing here. She's right around minus 200. So Teichmann, honestly, anything plus 130 or better looks good to me. She's plus 160, plus 150 in places. Ostapenko, hopefully you sprinkled a little bit on her outright. She continues to play good tennis, which is kind of funky. Again, this is an odd time of year for her, but this season she just looks a little different. The beginning of the year, again, usually a struggle for her, but like the way she's playing. She's a 2-1 underdog against Iga Swiatek, the young Pole. She's beaten twice. I don't think Iga's even taken a set off her before. And it's not like these were matches 4 or 5 years ago. One was last year, one the year before that. And, again, head-to-head is something that can be a little bit tricky, but, Iga is someone that has a little bit of trouble with someone that has as much power, if not more than her. And the way Ostapenko's hitting the ball, I don't see any reason this should be 2-1. So grabbing 2 underdogs here for a relatively underdoggy day. We'll see where the Cavaliers end. It might just be all dogs for us.
I'll bet a favorite, but I'm going to do it in soccer.
Ooh.
Because it is
Atlanta spread. What are we doing here? We're not going to do it to Gen Champions League parlay, are we?
I mean, I
literally have no idea.
You can parlay these. I mean, let's say what is 115 is 1.87.
Yeah, 1.87
times 2.2. This would pay out 4.1 to 1. That's not a bad little parlay. But don't parlay stuff just to parlay it. If you effing degens, what are you trying to do here? These are not. Although I have had success in the Champions League group play, we are now in knockout play. These are still first legs, so I think it's first legs or 2 legs all the way to the championship. I'm gonna have to bone up a little on my Champions League knowledge, I guess, on how they run this tournament. But this is knockouts now, so they are bracketed up. I'm not even. Again, I'm about to say I don't know shit about shit here, but I don't know when they redraw or if it's straight brackets. I really, really need to sit down after this and figure life out. Right now, I am just looking at the matches that are happening. These are first legs. PSG hosts Real Madrid. If you want to look at history, these teams have played a bunch, but like you just said about tennis, you can't contextualize head-to-head tennis matches from 5-6 years ago. It's silly. And the last time PSG and Real Madrid played was like 2019. It's hard to take that and have any context from that. So I did play an under in here, mostly based on I think this ends 1-0 PSG, maybe 2-0. I don't know why I did nil and nothing in the same sentence, but I'm getting a plus number on the under. And Madrid away has been horrid for the last a while. Their last 5 away matches, they haven't scored in regular time. If you go look at the scores, they have some goals. A bunch of them were in like the cup or things where there was an advancement and they needed to play extra time. I don't think they've scored an away goal in their last 3 matches in regular time. So looking for a low scoring PSG win. And then Man City is taking on Sporting, a Portuguese team who again got through to the knockout rounds, and group play is what group play is, but they got drawn into what I think is probably a little bit of a weaker group. They ended up with Ajax and Dortmund, and then a Turkish team, which is always nice if you can end up with a Turkish team, because as much as I love that league, it's not on par with some of the top leagues. They are above their heads here. They haven't been into the knockout rounds for like 10, 12 years. Last time they did, I think it was Munich they drew, and they lost like 12-0 in 2 matches. Like, this feels like an absolute blasting from Man City. I think Man City's probably the best team in the world. I haven't even seen the 11s yet. If they put out anything of a lineup, they should take care of business here. I'm going to play them in the first half, minus a half goal here. Again, like Sporting, I don't want to say they don't deserve to be here, but they played in a really weak group where, Dortmund kind of bottled it. They advanced on the tiebreaker, which I think was goal differential based off like I want to say they just beat the ever living shit out of the Turkish team. They scored a bunch of goals. I looked back at their matches. There was a red card in 3 out of 4 of the last matches. It was just a messy group play where they snuck through with the tiebreaker over the German team, and might be one of the worst teams through in the knockout. So looking for Man City to make some hay, and I'm just going to cash it at halftime instead of worrying about anything late. Sporting is good. They scored a few goals here in some of these knockout rounds, but this is a whole different beast. So looking for Man City to take it early, and then Sporting can be super dangerous in the second half if they want.
I like that. That's good. You've given permission when to play late. That's good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like, it's like somebody mentioned, it can get cagey in these first ones. So you do, and that's another reason why I played the under in that other one. I hope that one is cagey. Hopefully it's just 0-0 at halftime. Maybe I can find myself a cute little middle on 2-0. That's it. There's just the 2 today. I think these are going to keep going though, as there's probably more for the rest of the week. They usually do this a couple a day.
And tomorrow too, I believe.
Maybe I should do like I did with the Euros and just bet all these. That'd be fun.
We got 2 tomorrow in case you want to get your wheels turned in Salzburg at Munich, and it looks like Milan at Liverpool, or maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember if the home team's
I know, based on which app you're on, it's either listed our way or the European way. I use Flash Score, so I know that the home team is top on theirs.
Is PSG at home today?
Yes.
All right. It's Munich at Salzburg, Liverpool at Inter Milan.
Yes. So Bayern will head to Austria. Liverpool heads to Inter Milan, which is in Italy. Milano. And with that, we're going to head to break. Not break, like we're coming back for a second half. We're just taking a break from you guys, taking a break from making content. Hit some thumbs up. Conference League later in the week too. Yeah, I don't know how deep I'll get into that. Hit the thumbs up. Follow, rate, review, subscribe. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Andy. He's Alex. We'll see you tomorrow.